after day 3 of the group stages, and C9, what a roller coaster. What's been going on with you guys? Can you describe the mood in your team?
I mean, well, I think our mood was always pretty good. I don't feel like we crumbled at any time. I mean, not personally, I'm not sure how everyone felt individually, but I was always confident we were going to make it until 4. Compared to all the other times I've been here, it feels like we crumbled much harder in the other years from losing games. But here it was like, oh, we lost like some really close games against LTD, for example. It sucks a bit, but I mean, we played really well in a lot of time through the game. So, I mean, I think we felt confident all the way through.
So, let's talk one game at a time. So the first series you guys played, LGD, probably the strongest Chinese team. I think everyone thinks that right now. They look very, very good. You guys were up quite a bit in that first game, and then C9 things happened. C9 happened.
Yeah.
And then what was the atmosphere like? Was everyone just like, look, it happened, put it behind us, or what was the mood? Was there yelling?
There was no yelling, not really. I think the first game we threw, I kind of almost dived their fountain at one point, and then we bought some questionable items maybe on our carry and myself on Lion as well. And then suddenly they just killed us and went down mid lane, and I don't think any of us really saw it coming in that sense. So some of us could have saved buyback, but we didn't. And then we just ended up losing a game, which we should have won for sure. The second game was another Divine Rapier game, and yeah, that game we were so far behind. We fucked up so much early game, and we didn't find a pull ward, even though I mean that shouldn't happen. And so we couldn't pull, and then
multiple sentry.
We couldn't really make any moves, and we couldn't pull, so we got really far behind early game, and we were down 20k I think. Then we snuck Roshan.
Yeah.
And
you said Envy makes some calls.
Envy made a call to go sneak Roshan. We had talked about it a bit, because we kind of had to, like, when they get Roshan, it's impossible to do anything. They just end the game. So we talked about it, and then suddenly I'm just, let's go Roshan right now. Come with me and smoke. And then we go smoke Roshan, we take their Roshan away from them, and we're kind of a bit back in the game. Then like 3-4 minutes later, he's like split pushing, and he's like, I'm buying Divine Rapier, guys, just stall them. And then we trade racks with them. He takes bottom racks with Bone, I think, and we just stall, cancel some TPs, and yeah, then the game is super weird, and we're back, and yeah, then we end up like losing it anyway. But the effort was there. Yeah.
Classic C9.
Points for effort at least.
Oh my god. And then you guys also lost a secret, but then you came back real strong, 2-0ing a bunch of teams. Now you're solidly in 3rd. I don't think it's possible to get 1st or 2nd anymore. Is it? If some crazy stuff happens, it's possible, but it's unlikely.
Yeah.
But you guys are all but guaranteed top 4, I think. Yeah. And so we can look a little bit forward after tomorrow's game against Complexity to the bracket stage on the other side. Who do you think is doing well on the other group, and who are you like? Who do you think you would want to avoid?
I don't think we want to meet EG right away. I mean,
I think EG will be top 2 though.
Probably EG. Yeah. Like we probably won't face EG, but I mean.
It could be a Chinese team like Vici or CDEC or one of those teams, right?
Yeah. I feel like we had the stronger group, and I feel like the teams we don't want to play against right away is in our group already.
Yeah, I think your group is definitely stronger, mainly because you have probably the 2 strongest looking teams right now, LGD and Secret.
Yeah. And
Complexity looks a lot better than people thought. People expected them to be.
But I think EG is probably the strongest team in that group, especially when you go into BO3 bracket stage. EG are hard to play against. But apart from that, I don't really mind playing any of the teams in that group. I think we should be able to beat any of those.
And okay, so I think Jurassical had that quote where he said Dota's never boring if C9's playing.
Yeah.
Why do you guys constantly have these games that are just what is it? Is it your in-game calls? Is it just like, it seems like every single C9 game has to have some craziness. Even the ones you win, like 16-0 against IG, like what? Like
Well, sometimes you outdraft your enemy and they can't do anything. That's kind of what happened in IG. We also played really well and clean throughout the whole game. But generally, I'd say, I think it's because of the way probably Bone and Envy thinks about the game.
Okay.
And like we have this, like, extremes on both sides, like in terms of way of thinking, and the games can be really strange because people think very differently in the game.
Like, what do you mean? Like, how does
I don't
can
know
you describe?
how to explain? Like Envy has a very specific way of thinking about the game. Very special, I think, compared to a lot of other players. And same with Bone. He also has a very unique way of thinking. Even Notail has a very specific way. I think me and Fat are probably.
You guys are the most standard.
Maybe maybe more standard, maybe more stable to some extent. And I think that's why sometimes the games become like retarded in a sense, and no one understands what's happening. So, but I don't know. I'm also trying to figure that out because it can be good to discover why things are happening, so you can kind of
because it seems like every time you guys play, the game comes down to some crazy like situation where it's like if this guy dies, then the game's over. But if this guy dies on the other team, the game's over. You know.
I mean, the first 3 games of the tournament, there was a Divine Rapier involved, like, and it was super crazy close games. Strange.
And it's like I remember sitting there with I forget who it was. It's either Scriff or someone from one of the coaches, and they were just like, it seems like Envy is playing the game as if he wants it. He's like Michael Jordan, and everything is on him, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, if I make the moves, we're gonna win. But if I make a mistake, we immediately lose, you know.
Yeah.
So Rapier, like, let's go, you know, and then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's really good at making some calls when you're behind, and like seeing this one opportunity to win, like this sneak the Rosha and buy Divine Rapier, trade Raxes and stuff. I mean, you gotta have some
that's crazy,
special
way
of thinking to go for that move. Yeah.
Do you think that teams are saving strats?
I don't. Maybe not saving. I think they have some more stuff up their sleeves, but sometimes you just can't get to use it because the draft doesn't go the way you want it to, or something like that. And maybe you don't know, because the group stage. You know, it's the first time ever in a long time we play LTD. We can't really. We don't know what they're gonna do. We don't know what to ban, so we just have to see what happens. I think. Probably maybe EG has something because they played this random offlane Enchantress, you know.
Yeah.
You might see some other stuff like that.
That was really cool. Like that was critical.
Yeah.
I mean, they got that 2-0. Like they needed to secure a 2-0 to be top of the group, and they clearly valued that game very highly, so they used it in that series.
But I think most teams have probably something they have scrimmed, but they haven't shown that in the group just because there's not enough games to cover all the different strategies that you play in scrims. So.
By this time last year, there was a very clear TI4 meta. Like at this point, kind of towards the end of day 3, it was very obvious. Like this is how it's going to be, and it obviously changed into the bracket stage. And last year, there were more games. I think because of the bubble bracket stuff that they had. This year, slightly less games. But do you think that there's a meta? Has it changed quite a bit from what you were expecting, or?
I think going into the tournament, you kind of didn't know what everyone else were playing. So in that sense, now you know that everyone's kind of playing the same heroes. In a sense, like everyone's picking Gyrocopter, everyone's picking Leshrac, it's available, and like you kind of know what tier heroes are in a sense. Where going into the tournament, you had no idea what the Chinese were doing in a sense. So yeah, the meta right now is just Gyrocopter, Leshrac, and there's some tough techies and stuff you need to watch out for.
Has techies lost yet?
I just don't think so, actually. I think Complexity is playing with Secret right now. It says techies.
Well, who was the techies player on your team? Notail, right?
Yeah. We both played it a lot, but we have multiple techies players.
Oh yeah.
No problem.
I want to see a one position Eternal Envy techies.
I think
buy the rapier and like run in and suicide.
I don't know if that's happening though.
Okay. You know, you guys seem different mentally. Like I think that a lot of people expected you guys to come out like that, and then when that happened, you know, like when you guys lost and didn't do that well on the first day, I think a lot of people were like, oh my god, you know, like Cloud9, they're done, you know, like they're crumbling. But then you came out strong. You did everything. Did you guys have like a pep talk or a meeting or something at night, or was it just, you know?
No, I mean the games we lost were on so stupid mistakes and such a small margin that I feel like we have played pretty consistent through the event.
Yeah.
We had some games we played really bad, but like generally even the games we lost against LGD, for example, we didn't play that bad.
I mean, you guys were arguably, if you were to average out the play, probably played better than them for most of the time in those games.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
Generally, we don't really have any problems or issues like that. So it was more on just get back on the horse and play the next games, like, and win and don't do mistakes.
So last question. After every tournament, Envy does a conditions thing. Like, what's wrong with the tournament? Anything wrong with the conditions here? Can you think of anything?
Not really.
No. Correct chairs, correct room, everything
good? Seems really nice.
Well, that's good news.
I think so. I think especially the sound is amazing. The headsets they're using here, it's like similar to what they had in ESL Frankfurt, where you don't use your own headsets, they have them for you, and then they have like some kind of system where they take care of the sound and the mics and everything for you, and it's perfect. It's so insane. Like, you actually hear each other instantly, no delay. Perfect sound, everything. So I think that's really impressive. I think that's something that maybe future tournaments should take.
Yeah, that's good feedback. You got to give them the feedback. Use it in the majors.
You know. I don't know how expensive it is to have something like this, but it's definitely like incredible.
All right. Do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, I guess I do. Shout out to Cloud9, G2A, and HTC, and all the other sponsors.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a call out?
No.
No?
Not really.
Not the complexity. You guys playing them tomorrow.
See what happens.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for the interview. Good luck, and may your future games have a lot of divine rapiers.
Yeah, I hope so.